Okay, so I'm going to start with my review of fractions. This is not going to be done in the most mathematically precise way, but it's going to be done in a manner that is like that which I use with my clients to show them how to think about fractions, how to start to calculate with them. Some justifications for why these techniques work, and then finally several examples at each stage. It is my hope that this fraction review will help any of you to begin to feel more confident with fractions. I want to talk about fractions because I see a lot of my clients have difficulty with it, and I know that using fractions is a point of difficulty also with people more generally, and the use of fractions will help students who currently feel less confident, will make them feel more confident, and then they'll be able to use all the more sophisticated stuff that they know or that they're going to learn more effectively. And that's why I'm going to do this fraction review. So with that as our beginning, let's get started. Okay. So first of all, what is a fraction? Okay, that is the question. What is a fraction? What is a fraction? So in everyday language, we try and describe things with our words. I might say, "Oh my God, look at that car." Then someone might say, "Do you mean that red car or that blue car?" And I might say, "You're right. I'm talking about that red convertible with its top down and the beige interior." Now what I want you to notice from here is that I went from a very primitive description as a car to a much more precise description. That is, a description that gave much more details about what I was talking about. And so the fraction is the human attempt to characterize the part of a whole, not by saying that some quantity, let's say, is less than a pound, but by saying how much of a pound is it. And for a lot of situations, fractions will be good enough. And in any case, we need to know about fractions in general. Okay, so this is where we're going to begin. So a fraction is a precise way to describe the part or a part of a whole. Yes. Okay. So let's say I have a pizza. The way this procedure is going to work, so I mean, of course, this is the typical pizza example. I mean, I know that this might not be the most original example, but it's still my favorite example. And it's the pizza example. And we're going to assume that my pizza is perfectly circular here, even though it's obviously not. And if you guys think that it's perfectly circular, I can show you it is. No, I'm just kidding. That part I was kidding. But anyway, so I'm going to slice it now into a number of equal pieces. And again, these pieces are equal for the purposes of our discussion. And let's say I want to denote one slice of this pizza that has been sliced into 4 pieces. Then I'm going to talk about this part of the whole. So if I look at the whole pizza and I slice it into 4 equal pieces, I can say that I'm eating 1/4 of the pizza. Okay, and so that's the way that's the way a fraction is gonna go. That's the way that a fraction is gonna more accurately represent part of a whole. the fraction is going to consist of two numbers, the numerator and the denominator, which respectively denote how many pieces, the numerator, out of a total number of pieces that comprise the whole, the denominator, we're interested in. Okay, by the way, that was so long-winded, it was so bad. So to describe the part of the whole, I'm going to write down here what I was saying verbally so that you guys can have this record written down as well. And by the way, I want you to notice also, whenever you're watching my videos, the way I try to verbally stipulate things in a precise way. And this is to help you develop not just... I want you to develop a verbal conception of this concept. Now, of course, the verbal concept may be refined later on with time, but having a good beginning verbal concept will help you to think about this more precisely, because humans communicate in, among other ways, language. And we think in language. Of course, I mean, you could say, okay, David, but other people think in pictures, other people think in this and that, and that's true. But to learn these concepts, I want to associate for you the numbers with a meaning, and also I want to be able to capture that in words, because that will also help you guys to learn, I think. Anyway, so to describe the part of a whole of interest, the part of a whole, we slice the whole into a number of equal pieces comma, a number we will call the denominator, of these, comma, a certain number of these pieces will be chosen to represent the part of interest comma, a number we will call the numerator. And we will denote the fraction like this, as a bar with the numerator on top and with the denominator on the bottom. And for example, in our example, of course, the numerator is 1 and the denominator will be 4. That is to say, out of my whole, I am taking 1 out of 4 equal parts. And so this is the idea of a fraction. We're going to communicate the part of a whole more accurately by slicing the whole into a number of equal pieces. That number will be the denominator of the fraction, the number that goes in the bottom. And the part of interest to us, so for example, our slice of pizza, our one slice of the pizza, will be that part that is of interest to us how many of the equal pieces that corresponds to, in our case 1, that will be referred to as the numerator. And we will write our fraction down as the numerator over the denominator. And if we had decided instead to slice this pizza into 8 equal pieces, like this, okay, we're going to do this. It's an amazing, okay? If I decide to slice it in 2 equal pieces, and I'm now going to eat 3 of those pieces because I'm very hungry, and because I'm gluttonous, and because I want to eat all the pieces of pizza that I can get because I'm a pizza monster, then I'm going to say, as I'm sure you've already figured out, that I'm going to eat 3 out of the 8 slices of pizza. So in other words, this we're going to call jokingly as David's portion. No, I'm just kidding. That part was just a joke. But here you can see that we're going to choose 3 out of the 8 slices, or 3/8 of the pizza. And that will be our definition of what a fraction is. It's a working definition. It's not an entirely precise definition, but it's good enough to start learning. And anyway, I'm going to shut up now before I talk too much. Okay.